Are you sure you're ready?
Yep.
Good, because we are recording. Here we are. Kelly,
Hi. Hey,
thank
Brandon.
you. Are you excited?
I am very excited to be here. Yes.
Well, I'm excited too to learn about your diet and what it is that you do because I don't know honestly a lot about it. I've heard about it
Okay.
before. I'm someone that has pretty much watched what I eat for the most part of my life. Although I will tell you, I have a major weakness in potato chips.
Yeah.
I do, man. My wife will tell you there's a potato chip monster in our house,
Okay.
and it's me. Um, but learning about, um say, like keto or
Yeah.
carnivore or what was another big one that people were doing there for a while? The
Atkins.
Atkins diet or
Yeah.
something like that. I have never done what I call a diet. I've always tried to eat low carbohydrates
Okay.
and high protein. I went through eating 6 small meals a day to the intermittent fasting. I've tried to and incorporate my workouts and stuff like that into everything too. But to learn that someone here locally is a pure carnivore diet lifestyle,
Yeah.
and that's you.
That's right.
And how long have you been doing that?
Okay. So, can I start back and tell you a little bit
Please.
like when this started?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
It didn't start with pure carnivore. So, I grew up being like the chubby kid in my family.
Mhm.
I have a brother who's always been quite thin. In fact, he was just scrawny. And he was sort of a teaser, and he would call me, brothers and sisters are mean. I don't hold this against him now. He's such a good guy.
But
But yeah, he would definitely call me fatty. And I was a really chubby kid.
or big boned.
I was both. I am legit pretty big boned. I wear a size 11 shoe, and I do.
You do.
I
That is a big
do.
foot.
Yeah. So I am in general a big size person, but
Yeah.
I was also quite heavy.
Mhm.
And when I hit middle school, I got heavier. High school, I would starve myself down. I wanted my whole life. I just wanted to be normal. Like average sized, cute. I wanted to be pretty, and I never felt pretty. Um, High school, people would say I was pretty when I would get skinnier.
Mhm.
And I would barely eat for days. I wanted it so badly. I would work out hardcore. I would eat these little diet meals where there's nothing to them.
Right.
But that's all I would allow myself all day. And then like a carnation instant breakfast sometimes. And I could do it. I could lose weight that way. And it was the low fat craze was when, our generation was young.
Right.
Um, Everything was, if you're fat, then you obviously need less fat, so you eat low fat foods. And that was the absolute worst thing I could have done because all those low fat foods were so full of sugar. And we just didn't know. My parents didn't know.
But that's the marketing behind it, right?
Um,
It's low fat, but it's just full of a bunch of other crap that's
Yes.
awful for you, like sugar.
Yes, so I was eating a lot of fat-free cereals with fat-free milk, feeling like, why am I still so fat? This is really messed up. And I thought I always would be.
Mhm.
Had kind of resigned myself to it because I knew I couldn't live forever in that starvation phase.
Right.
So I would do my best, and when it did work, then, boys suddenly thought I was cute. And then I would eat again. It always came back pretty quickly. And in college, I estimate I probably gained about 50 pounds.
Throughout college.
Throughout college, yeah. So when I left high school, I was at a decently normal size. And by the time I graduated college, I was well over 200. When I got married, I was about 240 pounds. My wedding dress was a 22, 24. And a couple years after that, I went to the doctor because I was having staph infections, which is, you ready for this sexiness?
I'm ready.
Boils.
Oh yeah. You probably had to go to the emergency department and have them lanced. And
I would go
drained.
have them lanced and drained and packed. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Well, I'm a nurse, and I worked in the ER at
Okay.
Iredale for almost 8 years.
So many places. I still have scars, some on my legs. They faded. It's been a while.
Mhm.
This is when I'm turning 41 this weekend.
Oh, hey, happy birthday!
Thank you. And this all was hitting its peak of lancing when I was about 25 years old.
Okay.
And at age 25, I went to the doctor and I stepped on the scales at 262 pounds. And he it was Dr. Dunlap here in Statesville.
Oh,
Love that guy.
yeah.
He just retired this year.
That's what I heard.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sad times for me. I still haven't found a new doctor. But when I was 25, he said, you are going to keep having to do this forever. This is going to be what we do, is you just come in every few months, get a new place lanced, until you lose at least 100 pounds. And I burst into tears because that's all I had ever wanted to do was to lose that weight.
Sure.
It's not like I'd never tried. I wasn't a lazy slob. I wasn't a glutton. And that's how I felt like I was always seen by being that weight.
Well, it's unfortunate, too, because we live in a society that there are people who stereotype fat people and they fat shame people. And they, they make fun of fat people. I mean, and I think it's worse for girls because the last thing you ladies, honestly, this is just my own personal opinion.
Okay.
No one who supports the show or sponsors the show.
Okay, got it.
But I think women in general put more pressure on themselves than what men put on them, and the perception of how other women view them or observe them puts way more pressure.
I agree completely.
And like my wife will come out and have a dress on or whatnot, and I'm like, "Baby, you look beautiful." She's like, "Well, I just want to make sure and this and that." And I was like, "No, like that." She's like, but I'm like, I get it. Mm-hmm. The other women in the room have to think that you look pretty too.
Right.
Actually, that's more important than if I think you look pretty.
Sometimes
that's
true.
out. Yeah. It's taken me almost 40 years, but I think I'm figuring this out.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he said that to me, my spirit was just crushed.
Sure.
And I said, I've tried, and I don't know what to do. I think I've tried everything. I've starved myself. I have worked out. I'm not just eating boxes of donuts.
Right.
And he said, well, it's the carbohydrates. And I said, what's that? I didn't, at age 25, now again, that's 15 years ago, I had to literally ask him, what is a carbohydrate? I'd heard of it, but I didn't know what that entailed. Right. And I'd heard people say, like, oh, it's all the white foods, but I was like, so like an egg? No, fair. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And he gave me a little pamphlet. And on one side, it had very carby foods. And there was all my cereal I'd been eating, all of of course, sweets, but also breads and pastas, all the things we now know, like, well, duh. But fruit was also on it.
Right.
And he said, I want you to, for 1 year, he gave me a 1-year directive. He said, do not touch anything on this side of the pamphlet. And I was like, I don't know what's on the other side, but I'm probably not eating it because that's everything I eat is right there.
And if you think back to that time, the food pyramid.
The food
pyramid was bread. It was carbs.
I was doing what it said to do.
Right.
I was living there. Yeah. So upside down.
Right.
It is. So I turned over the pamphlet, and I saw all manner of meats and cheeses and eggs, omelets, chicken wings. Like, well, okay, that ain't bad. Right. I have some ground there I could stick with. And like a true dieter, I said, now how much can I eat of this on this side? He said, oh, I do not care. Eat as much as you want. And I was like, that's not probably going to work for me because I'm fat.
Well, you're probably someone that felt like you needed a number.
How many calories? How many chicken wings? All right.
I need to eat 10 of these. I need to walk 1 mile. I need to drink 64 ounces of water. We need a goal. We need a number.
Right. And he said, no, for 1 year, if you don't eat anything on the other side, I don't care how much you eat of this side. He said, and I don't care if it's your birthday. I mean it. 1 year. I want to see you back in a year. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I will see you way before then because we have these every other month appointments. Right. Okay. I did not see him once during the year. I never got not one single boil.
And have you had a boil since then?
Never in 15 years.
Isn't that crazy?
What he explained to me was it's all about inflammation.
Right.
He said the carbohydrates are raising your inflammation levels. He said, I could check you right now for your C reactive protein levels, which will indicate inflammation. He said, I don't have to. I'm looking at you. You're covered in them. The boils, you're getting them. You're inflamed. Yep. We need to reduce the inflammation by reducing the carbs. I'll see you in a year. He was so right. I came back. He looked in the waiting room. He looked at my chart. I had lost 80 pounds. He did not recognize me.
But what a great feeling.
Man, it was the best day.
So when did you know, like, this was working? Oh, man.
Like, a week.
That soon?
So soon. In the first month, I'd lost about 30 pounds of that. It happened so quickly.
They just started dropping off.
Yes. Because I was living so high. Now, some people, when they start a super low carb diet, may not see results that quickly, but they may not have been living on so many carbs as I was. But I was reducing fat, so I was literally eating fat-free cereal, fat-free oatmeal, fat-free, and it was very carby. So I did have tremendous results. Okay, but that doesn't explain how I got to carnivore. Okay. Here's how I came here, because nobody out there listening is probably going to have any issue with where I am at this story so far. They're like, good job, well done.
For you. Way to go.
Wow, what a girl.
Well, let me ask you this for you. During the year and just changing your diet habits, did you incorporate any sort of exercise or cardio into your daily activity?
I walked.
You walked?
Yes.
Okay.
And then when I would lay in bed, I would do girl leg lifts.
Sure. No, I get it. Hey.
I did some little girl leg lifts while I watched TV.
Burning calories.
Right.
That's it.
So I don't know that really contributed. I wasn't doing any hardcore cardio. But yeah, I did make an effort while I watched TV to do some leg lifts.
Because I will say, when I talk to people, I mean, I used to work at a gym many years ago through college and whatnot, was the morning manager there for a while. But it's interesting when you talk to people and you tell them a story like yours. There's this girl, she was big, and then all of a sudden she lost, 100 pounds or 80 pounds or 130 pounds now. By just change, well, of course, she was, 260 pounds or whatever she was. Of course, she changed her diet. Yeah, and it's like, no, it's not just you change your diet, because some of the people that I've been talking to, they are always changing their diets, but they're looking the same. So if it was just as simple as, she just changed her diet.
Yeah,
I
had changed my diet many times.
Right,
prior
no
to
one
that.
would ever get to 200 and wear a size 22 wedding dress.
Right.
Just change your diet. So it's actually it's a more complex issue than that.
Yeah.
But you have to stick with that diet change and incorporate some sort of exercise as well.
Well, I was crazy strict with that low carb. And so for 5 years I followed exactly what he said. And there were some low carb vegetables on the meat side. So it was some greens, green beans, green leafy vegetables, cucumbers, pickles. Those were allowed.
Okay.
I couldn't even tell you if there were any fruits on there. I don't think there were. I definitely did not eat any.
No fruit for 5 years.
No, correct. No fruit for 5 years. And I was incredibly strict, because that first year, losing 80 pounds, I suddenly was looking the way my entire 25 years I'd wanted to look.
Right.
It was like, oh, this is it. It was so awesome. But by the end of that 5 years, I was exhausted. What happened was I started working out more and more as that 5 years progressed, because it started to be harder and harder for me to maintain that weight. If I took a few days off from the gym or had even a more vegetable filled, I know this is where I'm going to lose some of you right here. Wait for it. Hold on. Here it comes. If I ate a lot of vegetables even, I started doing some experimenting on myself. I was checking my blood sugar, like a diabetic, though I wasn't. I was just curious.
Sure.
Like, what's happening? Because I had read that it's really the insulin spikes. Your blood sugar going up and down, that's what's causing the hormone levels to be at the exact place for weight gain. That's setting you up for it.
Right.
So I would check it after eating peanuts. I was like, man, my blood sugar goes up. Which, for a diabetic, no matter what they eat, it's going to go up some. And for a normal person, it will go up a little. But I thought, that's interesting. I wonder what would happen if I just ate a steak.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't go up. Like none. How about a giant steak? Nope, still steady. Steak and eggs. Still exactly the same. Okay, now we're going to add a salad. It would go up a little bit. Just every day for several weeks, just fascinate for my own curiosity.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to tell you that eating a salad for most people is going to cause your blood sugar to hit 150 or anything.
Sure.
There are some people, and I believe I'm definitely one of them, especially if you have lived the first considerable portion of your life overweight. We have something that's called metabolic syndrome. And if you're diagnosed as that, and there is an actual diagnosis, I've never applied for it, because the time I learned about it, I'd already lost the weight. I hadn't even heard about it when I was 25. But if you are overweight or have diabetes or have all the chronic symptoms of high blood pressure, anything that the doctor's going to fuss about, if you can tick off a few of those, you probably have metabolic syndrome. And it's going to mean that you react very sensitively to a carbohydrate. Your blood sugar will go up quicker and easier than your average person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a pretty good chance that I was more sensitive to a carb than most, but I was just noticing in my own trends, okay, so my blood sugar goes up. So then it led me to an interesting question. What if a person only ate meat, eggs, and cheese, which causes no reaction in your blood sugar? Like, that sounds unhealthy.
Sure.
To any normal human, that sounds like a bad idea.
So far, I'm agreeing.
Okay,
Yep.
So I Googled it. Can you live on just meat, eggs, and cheese? And I found the readings of this guy named Stefansson, who had actually done a ton of research on morbidly obese, bedridden hospital patients, where he had put them on an all-meat diet and the crazy good results he got. Then there was a guy who had gone to Alaska. Now, if you think about it, the northern Indians, the Inuit Indians, they could not have gardens back in the day. There were no gardens. They live in ice. You with me?
Yeah, meat.
Meat. They ate whale for the most part of their diet. Very fatty meat.
Whale's fatty, right?
Very fatty meats. And they have done a lot of research on these Inuit Indians to find how low the instances of heart disease and cancer were with them. I was like, well, that's also interesting, right?
Right.
So this Google search, this was all in one day. And then the next thing I found was this group called Zeroing In on Health. It was a blog of journals. Oh my gosh, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of journals written by people who were carnivores that had come to the conclusion that they felt their best when they only ate basically meat, but also eggs and cheese. And I was like, wow, I did not know there was even a group out there like this. So I started reading their journals.
So this is around 2008?
This was 2009, October of 2009. I started reading the journals. Fascinating. All these people showing their blood work. All these people showing before and after pictures. They look good. Even by that point, I was pretty low carb, but I was still having a ton of cravings for sweets. I missed it.
Sure.
So I was making sugar-free Jell-O every day and sugar-free, like just using sweeteners, mostly the Jell-O, and diet soda, a lot of diet soda. Like I couldn't get enough of the sweet.
You know, what's interesting is when I used to work at the gym, there was a bodybuilder from the 70s, and he was knew a lot about nutrition, obviously, and exercise, workout. And he would say a lot of people make the mistake by drinking diet or eating sugar-free, because once you ingest it, the brain chemical still thinks this is sweet.
Yes, it does.
And you have an insulin spike.
I was checking my blood sugar, and I'm like, why is diet soda and sugar-free Jell-O making my blood sugar go up? It's sugar-free.
Yep.
But it did. Okay. So, but the main thing it did, and I didn't know it, that's what was keeping all of my cravings for sweet alive, was that sweet taste. It triggers a part of the brain that's very similar to sugar.
Right.
And so you just keep wanting more. My husband jokes it was like a Jell-O factory at my house. There were so many bowls of Jell-O in our fridge at all times. There could never be enough. That's ridiculous, right?
Well, I mean, no, yes.
I just wanted to be skinny.
But for your situation, no.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I
whatever
knew
it takes.
carbs were bad.
Right.
So that's what I was doing.
Sugar-free Jell-O, good.
Yes. No carbs. But then I found these people, and they're like, okay, listen, you're almost a carnivore as it is. Right. You're close. You've lost all this weight. You're working yourself to death in the gym just to maintain it, and you're living off of Jell-O. Why don't you give this a try? Like, well,
got nothing to lose.
Right? They said you can eat as much meat as you want. And we actually recommend that you kind of just rest your body for a while, because you're going to go through some adaptation. Your body is becoming a fat-burning system. So just take it easy. You can even stop going to the gym for a while. It's like, oh.
That goes against everything that we're taught.
I
know we do.
I know. And I'm even trying to fly my freak flag a little lower right now than usual. This is a bit tame even. But that's what they said. And
Okay.
I listened to them. So I went from working out, I would work out 1 hour before work every day and 1 hour before bed every night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
So even when you're at sleep, you're still burning your calories.
that was the dream, right?
Caloric
Yeah,
inferno, if you
man,
will.
I was. And I looked like I wanted to look, but at the end of that 5 years, I just thought, I can't do it forever.
You're burnt out.
Yeah, I was. I was burnt out, but also terrified of getting fat again. I was at such a weird point of, I don't want to keep living this life, but I can't go back to my old one. So I decided to try this thing. This crazy thing of, I'm not going to stay at the bottom of the Atkins ladder. He would always say, like, try climbing a rung or two, right?
Yeah.
To add back some carbs. I'm just going to get off the flipping ladder. Let's just get off the ladder.
I'm off the ladder.
Yeah. And you know what? I felt really different very quickly. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, because you were eating something other than Jell-O. There's truth to that.
Right.
There is. I was eating steaks, very fatty steaks. Yep. Very nutrient dense. So it turns out that meat is very nutrient dense. A lot of bodybuilders, they already know this. They're killing it. They're pounding meat if they want nutrients. I would feel full for long periods of time. You
Okay.
eat a big steak, it takes a long time to feel hungry again after that.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt good, right?
Absolutely.
That feels amazing.
Who doesn't like to eat steak?
Who doesn't like to feel full on steak? I'm sure I'll find out from all of you who doesn't, but
Right.
I enjoyed it. And so that was like, all right, well, this feels different. I had better energy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, on a more personal note, the last 2 years of low carbing for me, where
Yeah.
I was working in the gym and I was at goal weight, I had no cycle, no feminine cycle. And that's a pretty bad sign of health.
Absolutely.
When that stops at age 28,
Mm-hmm.
something's not right.
Right.
You've screwed something up. So the zero carber said, also, do you want a family? I had no kids. And I said, we'd been married several years by then. I had no kids.
Was your body fat low? Because I know, like, super athletes, female athletes.
It was. I was pretty thin by
once
then.
Body fat gets a certain percentage, they lose their cycle.
Yes. So I think I was probably about the same weight that I am now, which I'm 140 pounds now. But because I got there by eating so few calories, and because I got there from working out so hard, I think I'd stressed my body perhaps.
For sure.
And then when I started eating meat, my cycle came back. I was pregnant within the first several months. And I felt so good
Yeah.
that I was not even close to tempted to going back. People ask, well, do you have blood work done? That sounds crazy. I've had blood work done through the whole thing with Dr. Dunlap because he was the one that started this. Now, to his credit, he has always said, if you were to eat some green leafy vegetables, it wouldn't kill you. I know, right?
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't kill me.
Right.
I don't really want them, but
Well,
it wouldn't.
Let me ask you,
Okay.
since you do your lab work, how was your cholesterol?
All right, so when I first started out, before this diet, I was running at the point where he suspected I would end up with high cholesterol. Like 190, getting 200, but I was only 25 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So you wouldn't really, he said, eating this way, you can get away with it at your age. But he suspected I would have eventually get high cholesterol. I can tell you that in 2015, my
Look at you.
cholesterol.
She brought the stats, ladies
I
and gentlemen.
did. I brought it because, I get asked that a lot.
Sure.
Obviously, if you're just living off fatty meat, people are like, well, you're going to die of heart
See,
problems.
I naturally have high cholesterol, and I do not take cholesterol medicine. However, when I started intermittent fasting, my cholesterol went from 230 to 190. That's the only thing I've ever changed was that.
Yeah.
My workouts were the same. I was still pretty much eating whatever I wanted, for the most part, healthy. Then I just did 16 hours of intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
For 3 months. I went and did my lab work, 190.
You know what's cool? A carnivore diet mimics a fasting state.
Really?
It does, because your blood sugar does not change
Right.
no matter how much you eat. The hormone levels when you test a fasting person versus a total carnivore, it's indistinguishable. That's why a lot of carnivores don't fast, is because you are already so close to a fasting state that all of the benefits that we've seen from fasting, and we have had plenty of carnivores to try extreme fasting even, they don't see any change They don't feel a change or see a change in blood work because it already mimics it so closely. So in 2015, my total cholesterol, which just side note, I don't think that is a great judge of health. And it doesn't correlate with very well statistically at all with who will have a heart incident.
Right.
Okay. But just because people want to know. It was 168. In 2019, it was 167. It stayed quite steady.
Yeah.
And, that's the most recent I have was 2019. I haven't been this year. I go in the spring. Triglycerides in 2015 were 60. In 2019, they were down to 42, which is ridiculous low.
And because I don't remember these off the top of my head, but do you have the normal ranges of what those are
Okay,
on
so
your lab work?
you can see.
Oh, it's
yeah. Ooh, so sorry, I just bumped the microphone. Probably scared all of you. Okay,
right.
now I have the actual blood work on here too for different years. So let's see. Triglycerides, it says anything up to 149 is considered normal. And mine's 42.
And you've been eating fatty red meat.
Fatty red meat for now, this is 10 years in on just the meat.
And did they give you your LDL and HDL?
I do have that. My LDL, now that's your bad cholesterol.
That's your bad.
In 2015, it was 94. In 2019, it was 101. And the normal ranges on that is anything 100. You get up to 100.
Right.
Your good cholesterol, which I think is a very important number. Anything above 39 is what they're wanting.
Yep.
They're happy if you're 40 and above. My HDL in 2015 was 62. 2018, it was 58. 2019, 58. So I'm staying,
You're where they would want you to be.
My doctor says my blood work, Dunlap, my love, he retired. But right before he retired, last spring in 2019, I had my yearly blood work done. Mm-hmm. And he said, quote, "You are my healthiest patient."
Isn't that wild? My HDL, even though I was and still am physically active, my HDL is always low, which is not good.
All right.
And my LDL, the bad one, the lethal, was always elevated.
Uh-huh.
And my total cholesterol was always high. The only time my lab work was good was when I fasted.
Okay.
And then I've had a setback. I ruptured a disc in my back and haven't been able to exercise, and I kind of went off the train, the rails a little bit. So my lab work is wacky. But I just had it redrawn again today, so we're going to see where it's at.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good luck on that.
Because I think what I'm going to do...
Uh-huh. I like this face we've got going.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this carnivore diet.
What?
Just for the month of February.
You know Joe Rogan's doing it right now.
Well, unfortunately, yes. I found that out yesterday. And I thought, when you come on the show, I'm going to hear what you're saying, see how it goes. Then I'm going to try it for the month of February.
Okay.
Because I figured, well, then it's going to be a short month, so I kind of get to cheat a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
And what's going on in the month of February? Nothing, really.
No.
Valentine's Day, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm going to keep going. I'll wait. I want to hear more. I'm not totally committed.
Okay.
But it's coincidental that I needed my lab work done anyway. So I went today, and while I was sitting there, I was like, I think I'm going to do it. Just what the hell? I've done crazier shit for a month. Why not? Or longer. Why not try this?
Okay.
So,
well, a lot of people have started off with a 30-day trial. Carnivore month is January, has been for the last few years.
Is it really?
It is. That's why Joe chose January, but I like your reasoning for February. You could start a new trend.
I could.
Doctors,
This is leap year, right? So February is a day or two longer?
Oh, so you're not cheating quite as much.
Well, but I'm still cheating.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know Dr. Sean Baker. He's been on the Joe Rogan show. He's a rather famous carnivore right now. He's been at it for 3 years.
And just for clarity, I did very little research at all, really, on carnivore diet because I wanted this to be as natural and as organic as possible for me learning from you for tonight.
Cool. I'm good with that.
Yep.
So I know that when people hear this story, it's not the first time I've ever shared this, but I am typically sharing with people who are already of my camp and, who are already
my
keto.
Tribe.
Yeah, my people, they're so open to like, oh, yes, girl, that's great. You preach it. All this inflammation talk and lowering of carbs. So I know that this is a very different audience, and I don't normally come out to just talk to the mainstream.
Well, thank you.
But I've heard that you have a really open mind and that your audience is pretty interested in
Absolutely.
like the different. Like
Yeah.
you're okay with different.
We love different.
Boy, here it is. I'm okay with being different. It was there have been times where I've kind of shied away from talking about it because it can be actually infuriating to some people. It's not what we've been taught. It's not the food pyramid. It also, to some people, even seems anti-religious in some way.
How could it be?
Well,
see, this is what
yeah.
kind of drives me crazy about people in general. Okay, so you're going to do something that you know is working for you, and you have seen the lab work, and you've seen in your mental stability, your physical well-being, how you present yourself, and you feel good, right?
Oh, I feel good.
And then people who are okay with people drinking sodas and eating candy bars and shoving bread. I mean, just read I did read the book Wheat Belly a few years ago.
Oh, good for you.
So, I mean, but just look at how our food is different and between now and a century ago.
Right.
Even 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But yet they're okay with sitting in the fast food line or eating crap.
Right.
But yet you're doing something that really works for you, and it seems like you're keeping tabs on your health with your lab work and seeing your doctor. Why would anybody poo-poo on that?
Well, they sometimes do.
Well,
I think it's just so different. It is different. And I try to sort of ease people in. When we get a new member at lunch and they see me eating I eat 1 pound of meat for lunch every day. That's a lot to take in.
Well, it sounds like a lot, but is it?
It's 4 quarter-pound beef patties, usually.
And it's, your regular, what kind of steak do you eat? Like a ribeye?
I love chuck eye and ribeye.
Chuck eye.
Chuck eye is just poor man's ribeye.
and what does a normal steak weigh? Is it a pound? Half a pound?
I don't know. Mine weighs a pound.
Yours weighs a pound.
But most people don't order a pound of meat. Most people would probably go and order an 8-ounce steak. Well, don't you think? 8-ounce steak sounds like a normal person?
Yeah.
But they're having a potato and a salad. And
that's true. Which the potato is essentially just a bowl of sugar.
Once
you metabolize it.
That it is. Mm-hmm. I remember that day I asked Dr. Dunlap, I was like, so what about potatoes? Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah, that's
it's on your no side. I said, but I thought they were fat-free.
Right.
I had much to learn.
Well, and we're still learning.
Yes.
So anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I don't know, where was I?
I can't remember.
Okay. So it's going well for me.
That's right. So no, but you were saying, I think it was back to you were doing your lab work.
Yeah.
I
got pregnant.
Oh,
I got pregnant. Yeah. So she's about to turn 9 now. It's been a little while. But I started the zero carb diet without having any cycles. Cycles came back. I got pregnant. And so then it was like, people said, you're not going to eat that way while you're pregnant, are you? Well, I feel so good. I don't think I should ruin my health in the name of this other human who might feel good too. But, it's supposed to be, think about pregnancy, which they recommend. Tons of fiber. Because if you don't, you're going to get, and have hemorrhoids.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they tell pregnant ladies. And you need to eat so many colors. Eat all of your colors. Well, I was eating brown. Because there's not a lot of colors of the rainbow there.
No.
And there was a little bit of concern. People suddenly become concerned. Meanwhile, my friend only craved Snicker minis for her 9 months. And it was like, girl, you're eating for 2. Good for you. You eat what your body's craving. I was like, what?
Yep.
My body's telling me this is working. So I only ate meat, eggs, and cheese for the entire pregnancy. And somehow we both survived.
And she ate snickerdoodles.
Yeah.
And it all worked out.
Her baby is great too. We both have awesome babies. It worked out.
Right.
So I've had now 3 zero carb. So another name for a carnivore is zero carber.
Zero carb.
Zero, and a lot of times I'll use both terms, zero carb carnivore, but it basically means you just eat from the animal kingdom. And so sugar-free Jell-O would not be a zero carb carnivore item, even though it says carbohydrate 0. There is a difference between an item having 0 carbs and it being 0 carb friendly.
But I don't know what animal would I have to kill to eat Jell-O.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Got it. So as I'm thinking this through my mind, this diet is sounding pretty easy.
Oh, it's so easy. Pretty tasty too. I'm not going to lie. I'm not suffering.
So let me ask you this about the diet. Can you season the meat?
Yes.
I can marinate it.
Well, it depends what you're marinating in. But as far as seasoning, like salt, pepper, most carnivores, I work with a group of almost 30,000 carnivores on Facebook.
Where are you people?
We're there are a lot of us.
What's the name of the Facebook? Is it private or is it public?
It is a public group.
Okay.
To be an actual member, then to be one of the 30,000, then you answer 3 questions. But anybody can read it. It's Zeroing In on Health.
Zeroing In on Health.
Yep.
On Facebook.
Yeah, you just search for that.
Okay.
Zeroing as in spelling out Zeroing.
Gotcha.
And there are a lot of people over there who are feeling amazing. And we post, they and myself, we post our blood work. Mm-hmm. We post our updates. We post videos and pictures. These are real life people who are not just, this is not just the diet about getting skinny. Oh my gosh, I left out the best part of this entire diet. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The 5 years that I suffered and struggled on low carb, because I was craving carbohydrates constantly.
Yes.
Those days ended almost immediately when I got rid of the sweet taste, the fake carb stuff. Carnivores, this is an absolute, I can guarantee, maybe not in your first 30 days. Mm-hmm. You might have to give it 60 to fully experiment with this. Okay. You will experience this. You will stop wanting carbs. It will completely all look unappealing. And I know it would be like me saying, all right, to 2 cocaine addicts, right?
Sure.
They cannot imagine not wanting cocaine. Could they even fathom looking at it and thinking, nah, I'm good?
Nope.
No.
Especially.
However, myself, I have never tried cocaine. I cannot fathom wanting it.
It's definitely not the carnivore diet.
No. Well, I don't know. I've met a few who make it work for them.
It's more the vegetarian diet. It's from a plant. So it definitely falls in there.
I can't fathom, as somebody who does not have it in my system, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe you don't either. Do you have any craving for cocaine?
None.
None.
Never tried it, so no.
It's so like that, it's bizarre. Okay. So that the people who are addicted can't imagine not wanting their garlic bread and spaghetti and ice cream. Oh, yeah. And the people who don't have it in their system anymore, I can't fathom wanting it anymore. And this is coming from a girl that loved sugar and carbs. I tried to not eat a lot of it, but I always had a sweet tooth.
So like as a drug addict, let's say that you were a carb addict or a sweet tooth addict. Do you ever have that time where you have that craving where it hits you to, like a drug addict, for example, where they
like reminiscing?
We're reminiscing. It's like they don't know why things are going great, and all of a sudden they need to go they want that urge to go do a line of coke or go smoke.
I have one Achilles heel, and it's peanut butter. I won't eat it. I haven't eaten it in 10 years, but every time I smell it, it's the only thing that gets to me. So you do
have a trigger too.
It's peanut butter. Yeah. Wow. Now, I don't really have a hard time now saying no to it. My kids eat peanut butter a lot, so I'm exposed to it literally almost every day of my life, and I never succumb, so it's not bad. Okay. Versus when I was low carb, it's like getting a tiny hit of cocaine every day and being like, but you can't have a real hit, just a tiny touch. And that's where I stayed, was in that addicted, just dreaming, wishing, craving stage for 5 years. And wow, I even have to say kudos to me, right? Yeah. I did it for 5 years, but it was awful. This it was awful. This 10 years has been so easy. It's just like once I got off the ladder, then all of that went out the window. I don't have a lot of willpower now. I don't have to. I don't even want it. And I know eyes are rolling.
No, I can get that because, I mean, there are certain things I've done in my past to where I see things now and I don't do them or crave them or whatnot. Don't have any desire.
Yes, and it's gone. Yeah. People apologize to me when they eat cake, like at a baby shower. They'll sit next to me and eat cake. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't have this. And it's so funny to me, like, okay.
It's so weird. Like, people are like, oh, so sorry. She's a meat eater.
Oh, yes.
You can't eat the cake in front of her.
I'm sorry, you can't have this.
Well, no, you can have anything you want. You're
I sure could. I could go right now today, and people will also say, well, that's a good diet. But if you did go back to carbs, it would all come back all the way. Well, yes. It actually would. That's correct.
Right.
And that's why I'm not going to do that.
So, okay, I'm gonna start asking some questions.
Okay.
Because they're all popping in my head as we're
right.
talking. So if someone like myself, if I dive into this carnivore pool, into your tribe for a month, so I can eat breakfast, and it would just be eggs, steak and eggs, or any sort of meat. You can eat chicken.
That's right.
You can eat fish.
Yeah.
Can you eat sausage?
Yeah, so some people find that sausage. All right, here's another cool thing about a carnivore diet. And I'm not out recruiting. I have no reason. It's not like I get commission on this.
No.
I just know that some people, okay, your average person probably does not need to go this extreme. I mean,
right.
You know, most people are out there eating whatever they want and feeling okay.
Yep.
There are a lot of people out there, though, trying super hard and feeling like crap.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's fair?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But something really cool about this.
Let her rip.
Okay, your hunger signals. Sorry, I thought of one other thing I want to say, and I sidetracked myself. Your hunger signals with carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. Think about when you finish a big meal and you think, "Man, I'm pretty full, right? I feel full.
I'm ready for a nap."
Somebody comes up with dessert.
Yeah.
You're still in, right? Like, well, give me 20 minutes and I'll have a piece of pie. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people. Yeah,
most people can make room. All right, when you're pretty full and somebody comes up to you with a steak, you know you're out, right? Out. You can't do it.
Gluttony.
You can't do it. It takes out the overeating, glutton. I don't really have true hunger signals. People sometimes say, you know, I started this diet, and when I go to look at my meal of meat, burger patties or chicken wings or steak, I look at it and I'm just not hungry. Should I eat it anyway? I'm like, no, you're not hungry.
Right.
Like, this is something that may be new to you, is because normally it doesn't matter if you're hungry or not. Potato chips will look okay.
Oh, man.
Right?
So good.
I know. But when you're not hungry, meat does not look good.
Yeah.
It actually teaches, it's so nutrient dense, your body won't even take it in if you're not hungry. Mm-hmm. You could literally feel sick thinking about eating a steak if you're full. So it trains your body to actually recognize when you are hungry, when you're not. So I tell people, if you go to eat your carnivore meal and it doesn't look good or taste good, you aren't hungry, you should put it away. Try again in a few hours. And they say, well, I feel like I might be hungry. Okay, try again in a few hours. They'll say, oh my gosh, well, now it tastes, and I experience this all the time. Mm-hmm. If my burger patty doesn't taste that great, I'm not hungry. Right. Try again.
Try again.
When your body needs the nourishment, it tastes fantastic.
Sure.
It'll be the exact same thing that didn't even taste good. Hunger, there's a quote, hunger is the best sauce. I wish I could tell you who said it, but I do think that's pretty brilliant, right?
Well, I think there's also another great saying that I used to do. I mean, I'm not a certified personal trainer, but many years ago I used to do that when I was at the gym. But there was a quote that I read somewhere. It's like you need to eat to live, not live to eat.
I like that. So one thing in our society is food has become such a an entertainment factor.
Absolutely.
It's just something we do for fun. If it's not a party if there's no food. Right?
Right. No.
I mean,
you're a horrible hostess.
Well, sure. Yeah. And it's just there to entertain us. But the carnivore diet does lead you to the conclusion of food is fuel. Mm-hmm. You are fueling yourself. When you get hungry, you fuel up with the most nutrient-dense food that there is.
Right.
And then you don't eat again until you are actually hungry. So I'm not snacking all day. I don't want anything.
See, I'm a grazer, especially if I'm watching sports.
Yeah, you're eating potato chips. There's nothing in them.
Potato chips or like peanuts or almonds or carrots and anything that's right there. You know, I like to graze. Like when I'm watching sports, especially.
That's
like
fine.
The Super Bowl's
I get it.
Coming up. Like I'm going to be munching all day.
Okay.
Or especially if I get nervous. Like I'm like, like a nervous eater. Bacon. No, because if I'm not hungry.
Do you like wings? A lot of people have wings for Super Bowl. You could just graze on wings all day long.
But I would need to have them naked, not...
Yeah, naked.
Okay. And can I have hot sauce on them?
A lot of hot sauces don't have sugar.
Okay.
So, like even I think Frank's red sauce doesn't.
Okay.
Unless it's a sweet. You know,
Yeah.
there are sweet wings. I would avoid that.
Okay. Marty's has the habanero. Can't do that first. Just go hot. Naked and hot.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
how it goes.
Usually. Okay. Gosh. Okay. Oh, sorry. So you were saying, but that makes sense because if you're not, even now, if you're not hungry and you're eating a fairly clean diet, you're going to look at food and you're not going to want to eat it anyway, even if it's broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, carrot, because you're not hungry.
Yeah.
It's not just the meat.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times people confuse hunger pains and they're actually thirsty.
No,
so
that's
if they
true,
would
too.
drink water, those hunger cravings will go away.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But no matter how much meat you eat, your blood sugar is going to, especially if it's I will say this. If you are a type 2 diabetic,
Yeah.
blood sugar is going to go up a little bit regardless of if it is meat or dessert, but it is going to go up considerably less without the carbs. I mean,
Okay.
that's just a fact of type 2 diabetes. When
Right.
they eat, their blood sugar goes up. But the goal is steady blood sugar.
Right.
And we have seen a lot of type 2 diabetes. In a group of 30,000, we've had a lot of diabetics who go completely off of their meds because they're not eating the carbs. You don't need your metformin and insulin if you're not taking in carbs.
True.
Yeah.
So, what are the things that I should look for? Okay. Should I, what should I be aware of? Or just like, hey, by the way.
Yeah, no, I've got some important things.
Yeah, hit me with it.
If you are going to do this,
Okay.
I would be a very irresponsible human if I didn't say, you cannot eat the way I do and have carbs too. I mean, I know, like, well, duh, you don't eat carbs. No, but I mean, from a health standpoint, if you're like, I will eat all of the fatty meat, and maybe I would like a piece of cake tonight, that is a recipe for disaster. You really, if you're going to go my way, like, you got to go my way.
So when you say it's a recipe for disaster, what would happen?
So when you're taking in this much food with obviously meat does have a lot of cholesterol, but it's the carbohydrates that are causing it to turn to the bad cholesterol.
Okay, right.
But when you take in this much fat into your body and you combine it with carbohydrates, that's not going to work. Like, the point of this diet is you don't eat the carbohydrates.
Right.
Even the way you metabolize different vitamins, vitamin D is metabolized completely differently in a carnivore who has no carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, they've just recently come out with some amazing studies on why we don't need vitamin C. I take no supplements, by the way.
I was going to say, should I be on a daily vitamin supplement regimen?
I do not know any long-term carnivores who take a single supplement.
Okay.
But they also eat zero carbs. The carbohydrate slows down the metabolizing of many different vitamins, especially vitamins C and D. So, yeah, I'm just telling you, if you're going to do it. Great. See how you feel. If you have bathrooming issues, because one of the other number one things I get is, I would never poop, right?
I was trying not to make that my number one, but just know that's my number one question.
Yeah. You're not alone on that one. It's normally people's number 2 question.
Because I gotta tell you, man, I got old sensitive tum tum.
Okay.
So I need to know, number one, am I gonna be shitting myself? Number 2, if I'm not, am I even gonna go at all?
All right. So here's the general advice that has worked well for many of thousands of people.
Okay.
If you are having trouble going,
Yeah.
then your meat is too lean. You need more fat. And if you're really struggling, like, man, I need to go today, I'll tell you, go ask your butcher for some fat trimmings. Throw some of that with your steak. Fry it up. You will go. Oh, you will go. But you better do it on a day when you are close to home, friend.
See, the scary, I don't know what this is awful. And for friends.
They're going to all hate my guts right now.
Well, no, because they're actually. No, they are.
Oh, well, do the fat thing. That's going to tell them, remind them of this. Go to your butcher. Get the fat.
But see, I hate fatty steak.
Oh, no.
I trim the fat off of all of my steak.
Really?
Yes,
that could change. That could. I've seen it change in people.
I don't like number.
Is it texture?
It's number 2 is the texture. Number 1, I've always been in the mindset that that's bad for you and it's bad for your cholesterol.
It's a big mental thing to get past.
Yes. So I have made it as much fat for me.
I eat so much fat.
Really?
Now, I no longer feel the need to add a ton, but my lunch group can attest to this. When I bring in burger patties versus steak, burger patties don't have enough fat for me. And so, oh no, there's the freak flag a little higher. I've let down my guard, Brandon.
Oh,
so good. I take chilled bacon grease and I ice the meat cookies. I just lather it right on there.
Spread it on like mayonnaise.
It looks like mayonnaise, kind of. Chilled bacon grease. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Now, if you were to just meet me, now I'm not skin and bones. I feel like I'm according to most charts, a healthy weight. Yeah. You're looking at me, you would say this is a pretty healthy.
You look healthy to me.
I am eating a lot of fat, man. A lot of fat. A lot of bacon. I keep a giant bowl of bacon grease in my fridge, and I just slather it on when I want it. And if there are days when that does not sound appealing, I've gotten pretty in tune with what I need. Yeah. There are days when I really don't need the fat, and the idea of it is like, nope, not today.
Not today.
Same with salt. Some days I really crave the salt, so I add it. And other times, nope. Sensitive machine running over here. That's what you're looking at, a very sensitive machine.
But you know your body, and you know what your body needs and what it doesn't need, because there's not many people, number one, that I know, number two, probably on the planet that keep up with what they're doing as far as what they're intaking, how their body responds. There's not a lot of humans like you out there in the world of 7 billion.
No, that's true. Percentage-wise,
no. Yeah. I'm going to have to probably text or get involved in this group to find out some recipes or some things to keep things. At first glance, you're like, meat, I can eat meat. It's no problem. I eat it all the time. But then I started thinking like, ooh, wait a minute. I like steak, but I like steak all day, every day. I like eggs, but I like eggs every day. Yeah. And what can I add? Because it's going to, is it going to be bland? I would like to taste it. And I want it to just be like rare meat. I like the taste of meat, but I've always also seasoned my meat with salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder.
You can do that.
And Worcestershire sauce. That's like my homemade, which is basically salt.
Yeah.
So I can still do that.
Do that.
And can I have butter?
You can add butter.
I can have butter.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm trying to ask questions that I have, but also other people would ask. If I went to say, you went and ate some fast food, which is horrible for you, but you would just eat the patty.
Oh, yes. I eat a lot of patties. It's literally just beef, salt, and pepper. It's not even frozen at McDonald's anymore. This whole thing of what they put in it. I've actually been working with, I've got a good friend, Amanda, that's a rancher. I've been talking with her and some of the suppliers for McDonald's, just finding out, like, where are you getting your beef? This whole notion of, they're adding this. They legally, they have to list what they're putting in it.
So it's really not kangaroo?
It's not. It's just some cows. They're just going to the ranchers and getting some cows.
So imagine, also, this has to be expensive. So do you eat grass-fed, only organic, or do you go...
No, I actually prefer the taste of just store-bought meat.
I don't think I could tell the difference. But if I'm going to do this, because I live right around the corner from a butcher. Yeah. So,
there are people in the carnivore community who say that's an important thing, but not mostly people that I know who have actually done it more than 5 minutes.
I was just sitting there thinking like, ooh, I can have. When I first started fasting, and I would also do for last year for the month of April, I did a 2-day-a-week, 24-hour complete fast. Okay. And what I craved was steak, eggs, and avocado. So at the end of my 24 hours, I would be in there pan-searing a steak, and I would have that with my eggs, and I would have an avocado. And I thought, well, that'll be good because I'll eat that again. I was like, wait a minute, I can't even eat avocado.
Oh, man. I'm not going to tell you can't.
Well, no, if
I'm just saying you won't be a real carnivore.
Loser! You're a cheater. Okay. Gosh, okay. But I can have all the fish, all the shellfish. Okay.
As far as expense, if you do want to go through and get 1 pound of meat at McDonald's, here's how you do it. And I'm not necessarily saying you should, just telling you that you could.
That you could.
You go through and you say, I would like 4 quarter-pound beef patties, just the meat. They are $1 a piece which if you're good at math, you know that I have just paid $4.27 with tax for 1 pound of cooked meat.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's a good tip, right?
That is a good tip. Thank you. So, gosh, no tomato. I mean, this is gonna, it sounds easy, but it's gonna be hard. No, it's easy for you because this is your life.
Yeah.
This is, it's like breathing. You don't have to think about it anymore.
Mm-mm.
For me, it's gonna have to be not just it's got to be an emotional, mental, and even a physical switch. So, is it okay for me to go to keep my workout regimen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, if you do feel like crap at 1st and it's possible that you might, some people get what they call keto flu. I didn't.
Okay.
But some people feel very tired in the beginning. You just don't feel great. It's a big change if you've been eating carbs.
I imagine my body's just going to be like, what in the hell are you
it's
doing?
a big change.
Then
I wouldn't push through on that too much.
Okay.
I would rest.
You probably can't drink alcohol either.
So I'm not going to say that you should, but also I would not drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
But most hard liquors have 0 carbs. They're not sweet at all.
Well, this diet just got a little easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are plenty of carnivores that do still drink.
So bourbon and scotch is all right.
There you go.
All right. Well, this one I thought I had a good teetotaler kick everything.
Right.
Damn. Which, you know what? Maybe I'll try that too for the month of February. Kick it all. Just eat meat, drink water. Oh, coffee.
Coffee. All right. Ooh, yeah, that's a big subject. I still drink coffee.
Okay.
That could be the short summation of that. And people say, well, it's a bean. Yeah, I'm not out in the fields chewing on it. It's just the water that touched the bean for a minute?
Well, I guess that is true.
It is. I'm not eating the beans.
Right.
My water.
It's essentially water and caffeine.
My water touched coffee beans.
Actually, you know what? It's still brown.
It's still in the brown family, man.
So
So the few things you need to know. If you did I finish about if you have trouble going up your fat? If you're going too much, you've got to reduce your fat.
Right.
Go lean. A lean steak, calm things down. You can have cheese, but, if you're having trouble going, I don't know. I don't know the take on more or less cheese.
Well, too much cheese will constipate.
I've heard that.
So all cheeses are in play, or any certain?
Yeah, I wouldn't eat American Kraft slices. There's not really a lot of cheese in those.
Can you go to Subway, Jersey Mike's, or somewhere and get the sub, but basically just say, just give me the meat? That's
the meat and the cheese. No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Do that. That's way better than the donut or the bun it would have come on.
Yeah, it's true.
If you were to try living on a 100% salami diet, I would probably advise against it because scurvy. People ask a lot, why don't you have scurvy? Well, because I'm not a pirate, duh. But no, they were not eating fresh meat.
Right.
The issue was they were eating completely
rotten.
Yeah. It's not, people got it in their heads it was because it was just meat. Fresh meat is very full of nutrients. Mm-hmm. So that's not an issue. But when it comes to cured meats, they're not going to be as nutrient dense. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't advise living on it, but as far as hitting up a Subway once a week or something, there's nothing wrong with it.
Going back to lab work real quick because this just hit me. I know I'm all over the place.
Oh, hey, I've had my C-reactive proteins checked.
And?
Okay. So we've heard, some people used to say meat is so inflammatory.
Sure.
But now, anybody who's really researching and reading now knows it's actually one of the least inflammatory foods there is. Dunlap was just brilliant and a little ahead of his time. But he was right.
He actually is ahead of his time.
Yes. Yeah, 15 years ago, hardly anybody was saying that. And now almost, a lot of people are saying that.
He and Dr. Reindaler, I don't know if you remember him.
I know the name, but I didn't know him.
He was here in town, but now he's down with Atrium Health, and that's who I go see.
Oh, cool.
He's my GI doctor because I've had some issues, but he is a 72-year-old man. Looks like he's 50. He intermittent fasts. He's hits the gym every day.
Nice.
He's super, super great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I text him like, hey, I think I'm going to start doing this. I need to have my lab work anyway. Get me in there this week. And he was like, all right. So I went this morning, got my lab work done.
Good for you. He's not retiring anytime soon, is he?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Okay.
He's a huge liver expert too, which is going to get me to not your liver per se, but actually, have you had any gallbladder issues? I mean, you're not eating fried fatty food, but you are eating fatty food.
A lot of fatty food. I'm looking at my phone right now because I was going to tell you what a normal C-reactive protein level is.
And I used to know this, but I don't anymore.
Okay, so they're concerned if you're anywhere close to 10.
Okay.
All right. They're super happy if you're under 3.
Okay.
And on my 10-year carnivore anniversary in 2019, I put up the money. I ponied up because insurance, I was having zero health concerns.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to pay for that.
Right.
I hadn't had a boil in 15 years. They're not going to check my C-reactive protein. So I paid the $68 or whatever and got it checked, and it was 0.5.
Hey.
Dr. Dunlap was like, well, I could have told you it was low. He did tell me it was low. He said, obviously, I'm looking at you. I'm telling you, you're never sick. I'd never see him except for once a year in my blood work.
So you're never sick, sir. You have a high immune system, too.
Seriously.
System. And you work in the school system. You're around kids.
I teach 875 music students a week. They come in puking, sick, sneezing, breathing in my face all the time saying, Miss Hogan, I'm sick. And I'm like, oh, okay, I felt that on my skin.
Maybe this will help me.
Yeah, I really don't get sick.
People also call me the healthiest, sickest person they've ever met.
Oh, well.
Could be the damn carbs, even though I'm low carb.
You're on your way.
I don't know. Oh, one thing I want to ask about your lab work.
Yeah.
Kidney function tests, your BUN creatinine, all that stuff's good.
Everything on there is good.
A lot of times people will tell you.
I know it's bad. Hard for your kidneys.
Hard on your kidneys.
I know. My kidneys feel good. Hold on, let me feel them right now. Man, those are some fine feeling kidneys.
Fine feeling kidneys. Pin great.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have any trouble in the bathroom. All the people who have said you probably hadn't pooped in 10 years, they're wrong.
They're wrong.
It was this morning.
Well, and you know what?
Just kidding. But seriously, it's an important thing to note.
It's huge. And as we get older, it becomes more important.
That really, fiber is more of a problem creator for people than a solver. If you read the book Fiber Menace, he really goes into like, if you're shoving greenery down a tube and having trouble getting it out the tube, shoving more greenery in the tube is not the answer. You really need some fat and less greenery. I have no trouble going. And even in all 3 pregnancies, without a carb in all of them, it was never an issue. You know, all the pregnant women are talking about just being constipated all the time.
Just being pregnant, period.
That's just part of the process. You're making a baby, so you got to be constipated. Except I wasn't.
Wasn't.
That's right.
Okay.
I don't know if my Snickers friend is constipated. I never asked.
You never know. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Yeah, that's true. I'll throw that out there. That'll make everybody happy. Hey, everybody's different.
That's right. Everybody reacts different to different things.
Yeah, I mean, I do react very strongly to carbohydrates. Some people would die if they ate a peanut, right?
True. Or an egg.
Yeah, or an egg. And you would be perfectly fine. So in some ways, everybody's different. I do feel like it's a pretty optimal way to eat. But again, I'm not getting commission, so I'm not trying to put this on other people. I think it's cool. All right, here could be the takeaway for even somebody who is, let's say you got some vegan listeners right now.
Yep.
I have tried to find a way to eat that makes me feel really good when I used to feel really bad. And I did try eating no meat for a while in high school. It was part of my senior year. I tried the vegan thing. I did not feel good. I did lose some weight, but mostly because I hated vegetables. So if that's all you're eating, this may not be for you, but I hope whatever you're doing, you find something that does reduce your inflammation, that does make you feel energetic, that keeps your immune system high, that gives you a happy sense of life, right? Like a happy outlook. I think sometimes people just feel like that's your personality.
Right.
And I used to not have such a generally happy, positive outlook on life. If you are struggling in any of those areas, I think it's worth, the takeaway might be, maybe I should look at diet.
Sure.
Maybe not, okay, I'm just going to go straight up eating meat. I don't suspect you're going to get a ton of converts, but even if that's all somebody takes is, it really could be diet-based. Maybe it is the carbs. I should back off the carbs a little. Awesome. I hope everybody feels as good as I do. That's really all I want. I'm not selling a book. I don't eat what you want to eat. I just hope people feel good.
Have you watched the Netflix documentary Game Changers? Or
No,
Game
I
Changer?
haven't.
So it's about a UFC fighter chronicles how he had an injury and he went from eating meat and whatnot to he is a full blown vegan,
Yeah.
like no meat whatsoever. And
All
then
right.
they do all these research studies and this and that, how it affects the body. And there's actually a doctor on the documentary. I remember I was watching it one day and I was kind of vacuuming, halfway paying attention, halfway not. And then I heard his name and then I saw him and I was like, holy shit. So it's actually a doctor I've worked with before. So I'm thinking about reaching out to him and seeing if he'll do a call in, to talk about the research that he found, and what meat has on men's erections, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because he is a urologist.
Mhm.
So the takeaway from what his little segment was, and then how I also like to have someone who is a vegetarian or vegan or whatever to come in here and to talk about that too. And no judgment, hey, it works for you. Being a carnivore works for you. This whole show is always about trying to learn things from different people and listen, laugh, and learn. I always say if we can do one of those three things, and it's been a good show.
Okay, good.
So, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it for the month of February. I think I'm going to do this carnivore diet for the month.
You know what we should do? I don't know if you do it, but at the end of your month.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this right now.
Sure.
I've got a new YouTube channel.
Yes. Well, I wanted to talk about that too, so go ahead.
You should come on my show at the end of the month. And
love
I should
to.
ask you how you could be. I would want honesty.
Yeah.
How did it go? What were the struggles? Did you actually do it? And if you came on and said, you know what, I tried, and after 3 days, no, I gave it up.
No,
I would want to know that.
I'll do it. Absolutely. Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. I will come on your show and tell you how it went. The good, the bad,
Yes.
the ugly.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I started new, and I do get a lot of emails, but I think it'd be awesome to sit down and just sort of relive that first month with you.
Absolutely. Done.
Yes. Awesome.
So we'll do it. And also I'm going to do, I told the doc that I want to do lab work post. So
Good.
I have my lab work done today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have it done again at
Please,
the end of February.
please don't.
Don't?
Please don't. Not at the end of February. I wouldn't. You're going to get. So for honestly 3 to 4 months, your blood work can be, all over the place, so that every day you have it checked. And honestly, this is kind of true with total cholesterol numbers anyway.
Uh-huh.
If you go on a Monday and have your total cholesterol checked, it's going to be very different on a standard American diet day to day.
Right.
So it is not a steady number. But when you are switching your diet tremendously, numbers get real whack for a while. They really do. I've seen it many times. We advise, please don't get it done after just 30 days. But if you're only going to hang in for 30, that creates a problem, right?
Well, we'll see. But there's other things I like to, just not along with my cholesterol, but other things I want to keep an eye on too. But I'll do it. We'll see.
So I've got a really good friend here in Statesville. I'm just going to use her first name because I don't have permission, but her name is Summer, and she's been doing keto, close to carnivore. She still keeps some veggies, but definitely very high fat. Okay. So there's the difference, basically, in keto and carnivore. They take in purposefully lots of fat, and they still allow vegetables. Okay. So maybe, for some people who are thinking this is just a little too far, maybe keto.
Maybe keto.
Maybe keto. She has done it, and her cholesterol, she already, similar to you, struggled with cholesterol, even though she did not have a weight issue very much. She was just a little heavy, and she has lost considerable weight, but her numbers were they were getting worse. Yeah. And everyone in her family was like, okay, you have to stop this.
Right.
If your cholesterol is bad, you can't just keep eating all this fatty meat and expect it to get better. She was messaging me very upset because she says, I feel so good. I don't want to change, but my numbers are getting worse. I can't keep this up. I'm concerning everyone I know. That's a big problem.
Sure.
She was losing weight. She looked the way she wanted to. She felt the way she wanted to. But on paper, it didn't look right.
She'll like a walk-on heart attack on paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yet she hadn't felt this good. She was having some health concerns prior to starting the diet that were really resolved. Her blood sugar, I'm pretty sure hers was bottoming out to the point where she was passing out prior to starting the diet. Suddenly, she feels good, hadn't had a single episode, but on paper, she's going to die any minute. So here's the problem. Do I listen to my body or do I listen to this piece of paper? I was like, it's really too soon to trust what's on that paper. Your numbers are going to be all over for probably 6 months. She went back. She put off doing blood work for a little while, much to her parents, and I guess it was parents. She just said family's dismay. She stuck with it. She messaged me so happy this week she got it back. Her numbers are gorgeous now. She is finally looking on paper like she felt already, and she's ecstatic.
It's what they call a rebound effect, probably. Your body's going through so much shock of what's happening, so your labs are going to be all over the place.
Yeah, it is.
And then it'll stabilize.
It does. It really does. I told her, I said, look, I'm not your doctor, but I'm not even a little bit worried. If something was getting worse for real in your body, you would be seeing signs of it. Your cycle would be off. Your skin would be breaking out. You would be getting sickly. You would have signs of something. Feeling worse. I don't know. Sluggish, bad sleep. All of these signs of health that we know to look for, right? She was experiencing great benefits in every area except on this piece of paper. But for her to now have this, I think she's going to frame it. She's like, it's finally what they want.
I suspect, too, that once I start this, I need to weigh myself. I got to figure out how you want to weigh. But I bet you my weight will probably bounce a few pounds in the beginning, and then I may not even. Actually,
no, mine did go up a little bit when I switched from low carb to, I told you they wanted me to slow down at the gym. I say they, like the carnivore experts, just chill it at the gym, eat lots of fatty meat. I did bounce up for a while. It took me 6 months to really, really lose, but I didn't need to lose when I started carnivore at that point. I just wanted to maintain 140. So I gained a little, and then I lost it. And the beauty is, through 3 pregnancies, I would come right back to 140 without going hungry, without working out, without restricting, thinking, oh, I got to wait for my fasting window to be over. I don't. I'm just eating. I go out and eat massive steaks. They'll bring me, if I feel like paying for it at Outback, they'll bring me a huge steak, and I ask them, I say, please don't trim it. I like it untrimmed. The looks I get, right?
Oh, I bet.
And they bring out this, 24-ounce steak and see 140-pound meat, put it away. I'm 5'8.5", so, 140 is about where I should be.
They're looking at this lady who's tall, thin, and you're eating this 2-pound steak, and they're like, you're a cannibal.
I've had people say, it must be, I wish I could eat a steak like that. It must be nice. You ready for this one? It must be nice to be naturally thin. And I'm like, yes! It's finally,
you only knew, though.
It's finally happening. No, but right. No, 25 years of that was the dream, that I could actually just look the way I wanted to look and eat the way I wanted to eat. If you'd given me a magic, like a genie, right? And you only got 3 wishes, I'd be like, all right, I should wish something about peace and maybe get some money. Oh, but I know what at least one of them would have been.
Endless wishes.
Could I? Oh, well, given, right? But he's going to say no.
Right.
So then you have to limit. And I would have gone with to be able to eat anything I want and stay skinny. That's the dream.
There you are.
And now I really feel like I am eating. I do not feel like a martyr, and I never go hungry. People say, oh, do you fast? No, I like to eat a lot. Yeah.
So that's another thing. I don't have to fast, technically, while doing the carnivore diet.
I would try first without.
And
then at the end of February, let's say you feel like, man, I feel great. I wonder if I would feel even better if I fasted. Try it. I don't think you will. I really don't. I don't think you're going to see any different results.
I got to be honest with you. I think this is going to be one of the hardest things I've ever done mentally.
I have had very few people actually accomplish it. So if you do it, I do have a coworker who has now been carnivore. She read my blog. She decided to try it. She had been, I think she weighed about what I did, maybe a little, she's shorter than I am. So probably about what I did. She's done it now for like 4 years. She feels amazing. She says she'll never go back. But that's, that's pretty rare.
Pretty rare.
Yeah. But it's not rare because people give it a solid shot and decide, no, I feel worse. No, it's rare because that's a hard thing to give a solid shot.
It is a hard thing.
And most people don't need to, right? Most people don't
But it's
need
to have a challenge too. I haven't had a challenge in a while.
I think for you, you really might do it because you're a curious guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to fascinate you.
And I just need somebody to tell me you can't do it. I'll tell myself I can't.
It's impossible, really.
You can't do it.
No one but me could ever accomplish this feat. I am
it's gonna be
pretty amazing.
That's right. That's what I've heard. So I want to go back real quick to you just started a YouTube channel.
I did.
And how can people
2 weeks ago? It's a really new YouTube channel.
And how can they find it?
It's Myzerocarblife.
Myzerocarblife.
That's also my blog, is myzerocarblife.com, and the YouTube channel, Myzerocarblife. Again, spell zero, Z-E-R-O.
And how often do you put out a video?
Well, in the past 2 weeks, I've put out 6, I think, or 7.
Good for you.
Thanks.
And what took you so long to do it? Why now?
Okay, so I told you before we started that I would delve into this. Mm-hmm. So I've been blogging for several years.
Okay.
And I've been working with this Facebook group for several years. But a few years ago, I did some mainstream. I came out of my shell a little bit. Mm-hmm. I did a feature in the Daily Mail. I did an article in Good Housekeeping. I was on the cover of Women's World. I did some things where it was like, okay, world, I thought I was ready.
What in the hell are you doing on this little show?
I thought the world was ready for this. They were not ready for this. I'm not sure that they still are. But I did these things that were not diet. They, just general people. And I was pretty viciously attacked. Yeah. It didn't go all that well, and I tend to not care. Yeah. But after a while, it wore me down to the point of like, sure. I don't really feel like sharing this. I was really doing it just to help people. And then when, I get thousands of emails from the readers of Good Housekeeping, housewives apparently could get a little vicious out there. They had some time to comment, I guess, some of them, because I got a lot of mail. And so I backed it off. And here recently, I hit 40 last year. And I kind of just decided I don't care. I don't care. I am super different, and I am so okay with it.
Yeah, good for you.
Thanks.
You should be.
Thank you.
They didn't care to voice their opinion.
No, that's right. I don't. And you know what? Voice it. It's okay. I've got an opinion too.
What is it? There's a lot of people who are famous, either on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe just famous people in general, but they say try not to read the comments.
Oh, everybody told me that. Please don't read the comments because they had already read them and they knew.
Don't
and I was like, well, now I have to go read. And for a while I did. And then it bummed me out and I stopped. So I got a little bit quieter. I stuck to the Facebook group, stopped doing the podcasts.
So how did these major folks find out about you and your story?
My blog.
Your blog. Mm-hmm. So you had a big following with your blog.
It did, yes. It's been, I think, 5 years. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten about 3 million views, which is not bad for a carnivore site where you think maybe nobody cares. It's done pretty well, and so people were picking it up.
Well, the good news is there's going to be like 6 people to watch this. So,
dude, I'm so happy to be here talking to you right now.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here.
And I've been actually more nervous for this than most things.
Really?
Just because it's just your general population. But then, again, people said, yeah, but they're pretty, open to new ideas, sort of out of the box.
This is episode 50-something.
Please be open to new ideas.
Oh, they are. They're fine.
Okay.
Because, if you look back through the list of people who've been on here,
it looked pretty varied.
Group. Yeah,
I listened to some, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it. No reason to be afraid.
Okay.
You're welcome here to Wayne's World anytime.
I love it in here.
I know.
It's cool.
But I do have to tell people, and I've said this ad nauseum on the show before, but when you show up to the dark, unlit flea market,
sketchy.
Oh, it's very sketchy. We're not going to harvest your kidneys.
That's the general vibe that it gives, though.
Oh, 100%. And then you walk in here, and you're like, well, I would have never thought.
Yeah, I'm totally at ease right now.
Yeah, well, good. And I'm glad, and I want it to make it an easy, open, relaxed environment where people can talk.
Yeah.
Because it's really about a conversation.
You're very easy to talk to.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, you have a very interesting topic that I want to learn, and I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. So, I want everyone to be able to. Do you have an Instagram,
yes.
Facebook, website?
So on
YouTube.
Facebook, it's just personal. That's my
Just
personal
personal.
space. So
Okay.
I don't do Facebook zero carbing except at zeroing in on health. That's where I am on Facebook for carnivore things.
I'm going to have to write all this down because what I'll do is I'll put a link to this in the YouTube channel and then on the podcast. So when people read the description of the podcast, they can click and find you and all that cool stuff. Well, absolutely.
Instagram is Kelly_Hogan91. And blog, Myzerocarblife. Channel, Myzerocarblife.
Beautiful.
Just recently put out an episode with Charles Washington, a 12-year carnivore and extreme runner. He's amazing. He places, and oh, Charles, I know you're going to hear this. How old are you, man? Okay, I'm going to say he's older than I am. The end.
Yeah, you go.
And he beats a lot of youngins. He usually comes right in at the top.
I'm going to tell you, here's something very interesting because I don't know Charles, and I don't know Charles' story, but if you should go back and listen to one of my earlier episodes with Charlie Engel. I don't know if you saw that one or not.
No.
But he is a local North Carolinian who is a recovering cocaine crack addict who actually was the first person to ever run across the Sahara Desert. Whoa. And Matt Damon produced a documentary about him. And then he went on to federal prison and wrote an incredible book. It's very inspirational. However, he is a vegetarian.
Oh.
And he was considered the number one endurance athlete, arguably, in the world at a certain point. And what he's doing now is called the 5.8 Project. And what he just finished a few months ago was his goal is to travel from the lowest elevation on each continent to the highest point of elevation to represent his low point of life to where he is now. So his first journey, I think it was in Africa. He went to Africa and ran from wherever to is it Kilimanjaro? I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank on it because I follow him and I email him and
we'll say it sounds like it should be
wherever it is. Yeah. Sorry, Charlie. But at any rate, so it's very inspirational. But it's interesting to me that he's doing everything off plant based, and he even has a Dr. Gundry or whatnot who mixes all of this stuff. It's a sponsor. Because he's getting ready to go, I think maybe to Australia.
Does he take supplements?
He does take supplements.
I feel like vegetarians almost have to.
Probably, I don't know, but it would be interesting. Anyway, it'd be interesting for you to listen to that, and then follow him and see what he does.
I feel like our creator is amazing, and I feel like we were made so our bodies are so amazing. Look, this guy is killing it and feeling amazing on vegetables. I would never be like, dude, you are so wrong. No, go eat some meat, but. Isn't that cool, though? He is feeling so good on that, and I'm feeling good on this, so I don't think there has to be this whole big...
Well, it's not my tribe versus your tribe.
Yes. It's just get healthy.
It's going to be interesting, because of the vegetarians that I know, they're... Mean is not the right word. Aggressive is not the right word.
Okay.
But they're very passionate in their diet lifestyle.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I've read some very passionate emails.
I don't know if carnivores are as passionate.
I'm trying to be real passionate right now because I am here to talk about this topic. But in general, I'm not, just seeking to tell people. I would never tell other people that they're wrong for not eating this way or that it's immoral to not be a carnivore. I feel like sometimes with diet and perhaps a vegan or two has brought morality into an issue. But I'm not out to tell anyone that the way they're eating is wrong.
Have you been told that you're killing the planet because cows fart? No
That's
way.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how many stats you show that if there were 0 cows, like what a difference it would make. Would be like the 2%. Compared to, all of our transportation needs, the cows, it's my cows. That's what I need to give up. Not my minivan, my cows.
Cow farts.
Yeah, give them some gas X. Keep eating them.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And I am going to do my darn well best to do this carnivore diet for the month of February. I'm sure I'll probably be reaching out for either...
Please do.
Questions, inspiration, or can I add this seasoning? Yeah. And I will absolutely come onto your show in March and let you know how it went.
I'm so excited right now. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. And everybody, too, we'll post everything to the link so you'll be able to check it out.
Also, if anybody wants to see extensive blood work, not just me writing down numbers, like the scans of my blood work, it's on my blog, before and after pictures on the blog, the whole story. If you want to know it about Carnivore, it's on there.
Good. Is there anything that I didn't ask that I should ask?
I think you did a great job. No,
All
nope,
right.
I think that's
we covered cholesterol.
Yep.
Oh, one quick question.
Yeah.
Your kids, do they eat carbs?
They're low carbers.
They're low carbers.
So they've never had bread or crackers or added sugar, but they do eat fruits, vegetables, meats, and dairy.
And some people are going to go, oh my gosh.
I
But
know.
I do think it's important for people to do a little bit of research on the wheat that we eat today compared to what we ate, what our great grandparents.
Yes.
It's a totally different,
Absolutely.
different animal.
They're really happy kids. Y'all put down your phones for DSS. They're really good. They're very happy kids.
Well, you know what else is interesting too? Like if you leave out a piece of bread or like white bread or wheat bread that you buy at the store, it takes a long time for that to mold or turn.
It does, yeah.
So think about that too.
I'm going to think about it right now.
What's up with that? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon.
Everybody, we'll talk to you again soon. And yep, that's it. Thanks.